What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the Pika Papa, and today we're going to be looking at the list of cards that TCGPlayer has said have gained the most in value on their website over the last 30 days. And they send this list out right about the middle of every single month. And we've been doing this video series for a long time. Literally, as long as TCGPlayer has sent the information out, I have done content on it. And the reason I think it's so important and the lessons that I take away from it is when you think about the buying and selling volume on TCGPlayer, like this is a great representation of the hobby at the macro level. So we all know that everybody loves TCGPlayer. We love their graphs. We all pay attention to it. And so whenever something is starting to get hot in their website, it is very important for us to pay attention to it. And we've seen a lot of market trends really originate kind of in videos like this. When Prismatic Evolutions first came out, we started to see a bunch of Evolution cards that were featured on this from all kinds of different generations, not just the newest one. And even though Prismatic Evolutions has been working down from a pricing perspective, a lot of those older, undervalued, say Sylveon, Jolteon, Leafeon, Vaporeon cards, right? Like those spiked in price, and they've actually been able to hold on to it because they were just so undervalued to begin with. Another great example is leading up into Destined Rivals. We saw a lot of the older, undervalued Team Rocket cards featured on this series. And then obviously, we've seen a lot of Mega Evolutions. I mean, all the way from January on up, we've seen a lot of Mega Evolution cards featured on here, simply because, guess what? The new Mega Series that's coming out is going to feature those from the XY era. So a lot of those older XY era cards have been featured on this list. So again, like, yes, it's cool to look at these awesome cards. And I'm telling you, there are 10 stud cards on this list today. But for me, what I try and take away, the learning from me in this video is how is the market moving in general, because it can really give us a legs up in terms of getting ahead of the trends that we're going to start to see. And I think one of the great indicators is if you look on the left, I have that little graph right there. I have the list of the months in all of 2025, and then I have that column which is greater than Sword and Shield. So what I started tracking at the beginning of this year was how many cards on this list were older than the Sword and Shield generation, and you can really see how the market started to shift. So in January, February, there were only 3 and 4 cards respectively that were older than Sword and Shield on this list. Then we got into March, April, May, June, and the list was almost completely older than Sword and Shield, and that was because we saw a general softness happening in the Sword and Shield space. Singles cards started to crash. Same thing with Scarlet and Violet. A lot of softness in that space. So we saw a lot of the market attention shift into those older eras. Again, this was very indicative of the overall market and how it was trending and shifting. That's the value I find in this. And now what we see this month is there's still a lot of those older generations on here. There's still 6 cards represented. But maybe we're starting to see it shift a little bit. You know, around the 15th of every single month, I pull the top 20 singles prices for Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, Sun and Moon, and the XY generation. I just got done with Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, and there's some really exciting stuff going on in that space, and I can't wait to share that with you a little bit later on. Now, before we get into the cards that are on here, you got to know the parameters. So listen, a card had to sell at least 5 times over the last 30 days to be on this list, because we don't want any cards with 1 or 2 sales to really drive that price up or down. Now, they have to be in near mint or better condition, and these cards had to originate at a price point of $30 or more. That just kind of aligns with this channel and what we do, and those are the things that I filter for. And now, before I get into these 10 cards that have absolutely crushed it over the last 30 days, it's time for me to give my selfish plug. If you get in this video, if you find value in it, and if you're having fun along the way, hit that subscribe button or give us a thumbs up. Those 2 small things go a long way in helping my small channel out. I really appreciate it. So let's start off with this card, which I absolutely freaking love. Now, this is a special delivery Charizard promo from the Sword and Shield era, and this is a card which, for whatever reason, it was flying under the radar a little bit a couple years ago. I remember I literally bought a lot of 13 of these cards. I bought them, they were sealed in the foil, and I got them in, and I learned really quickly that these cards are murderous to grade, okay? So out of the 13 that I purchased, there was only 4 which passed my pre-inspection when they were inside the cellophane, so I ripped all 4 of those out, and I sent all of them to PSA, and every single one of those 4 came back in a 9 PSA holder. So a little disappointing for me, but again, you have everything that you're looking for in a card. We know promos are super hot, right? What are the 2 most popular Pokemon in the entire Pokemon space? You got Charizard and you got Pikachu, and you have both of them here on this card, and you got a really, really low gem rate, so I'm not surprised to see this card spike up. And again, it's just super cute. You got freaking Pikachu riding Charizard. I mean, what more from an artwork perspective could you possibly ask for? And then again, look, over the last month, This card is absolutely dominated. It is up 47%, knocking out the door of $100. This is another one, you know, I think that there's some really, really awesome opportunities for this card, even though $100 is a lot. I think in the long run, we're talking 3-5 years, I think this card is going to continue to appreciate in value because of everything that I just said. And I think this is an awesome one to keep in the old Pokemon collection. I keep thinking in the back of my mind, like, to a lot of us, the yellow borders aren't special because we've been doing this for a while. But again, when I think 5-10 years from now, when yellow borders are way, way back in the rear view mirror, I think these yellow border cards are just going to hit a little bit differently. So I really enjoy this card, love all the characters on it, love all the intangibles, and I'm excited to see it pop all the way up almost 50% over the last month. Next card on the list, and I did a video on Monday where I talked about the upcoming Mega Series set, which we don't know all about. It's called Storm Emeralda, right? Like, it's kind of clouded in secrecy as to what's going to be on there, but let's be honest here. We know it's going to be a Rayquaza set. Like, we are very, very, very confident that that's what it's going to be. So on Monday, I started talking about some Rayquaza cards that might be a little bit undervalued right now because we have seen in the past that when a new set comes out and it's got a banger at the top with a big name Pokemon, a lot of the older versions of that Pokemon, their cards appreciate in value. And so it was really interesting to see this card on the list this month. Roaring Skies is a Rayquaza set first and foremost. I think Roaring Skies as a whole is still a bit undervalued. For the XY era, Roaring Skies was printed a little bit more compared to some of its peers, so they're not as hard to find as some of the other sets in the XY era. But this card is up significantly. It's up 59% over the last month, still coming in at $55, which I think is a relatively approachable price point. But again, when I'm talking about the cards on this video series being indicative of how the market is kind of shifting and things that might be happening in the future, I thought it was really interesting that this card pops literally almost, I don't know, 4 or 5 days after I did that video on Monday. So it's something to keep an eye on, and it's certainly one that obviously is top of mind for me moving forward. Next card on the list, we got the Ninetales from Lost Thunder. Now, Lost Thunder was a set that didn't get a whole lot of love in the Sun and Moon era. It was too early to have the tag teams in it. It was primarily, you know, a rainbow set when you think about the secret cards that were featured in there, and rainbows didn't really hit well with collectors out there. You got Lugia at the top. Lugia is a fantastic, wildly popular Pokemon, but it just didn't have a whole lot on there. But this Ninetales card, listen, over the last couple months, it's done relatively well. It's up 34%. I can't believe I just said relatively well, referring to a card that's up, you know, 43%. It is absolutely killing it, up 43%. And it'll be interesting. Obviously, in Mega Evolution, we see that there's a illustration rare of Vulpix. Obviously, you know, Ninetales evolves from Vulpix. So who knows? Maybe there's some collectors who are trying to get in on this trend a little bit early, but it really is a pretty card. And again, another one at the $50 price point. Like, sometimes I don't want to mitigate $50. Like, that is still a lot of money. But when you're thinking about cards from a much older generation with some really big name Pokemon, you know, $50 is relatively approachable from a price perspective. So really cool card right here. Next one on the list, and I gotta tell you, this is one of Pika Mama's absolute favorite cards out there. Last time we were at Collecticon, she was begging me to pick one of these up, and I was trying to find one that was in decent condition, but I have a feeling that Santa's going to be delivering her one of these under the Christmas tree come December. But this is a really cool card. The Generation set, especially that Radiant Collection variant, has been getting really, really hot. We've seen a lot of cards from that generation and from that set featured here in this video series as of late, and this is one where, as much as I love this card, and I truly do, again, if you look at the bright blue line, which represents the price over time, and those light blue bars that go up and down, this was a product of a really big buyout. You can see that somebody or a group of somebodies kind of went on TCGPlayer and bought, you know, looks like about 27, 28 copies, probably all at once, and it drove the price up. Now, is it going to be able to hold on to that? Who knows? You know, it looks like there's been several sales afterwards, which has supported the new price point of $75. But I'm going to tell you, I am not running out right now thinking this is my last chance to get it at $75. A lot of times you see a big buyout like that happen. People relist them on TCGPlayer, hoping to make a quick buck, and usually it falls down. Now, I don't think it's going to fall all the way back down to the $50 mark where it was before, but I do think $75 is a little bit of a premium right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. All I know is whether it goes up, whether it goes down, no matter what, guarantee you this is a card that's going to be in our personal collection sometime in the future. Now, next one right here, again, we're talking about trends that we've noticed and patterns that have emerged. This card really checks all of them. Anything that's Pokemon Center exclusive has just absolutely killed the game. And I know it looks like this peaked and has been working its way back down, but even though it's been working its way back down from that high, you know, I don't know, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago where it was nipping at the heels of $75. It's still up 54% over the last month. It is still clocking in at $55. We know Tyranitar is a big bad lizard and it has the ability to hold its own. Tyranitar has some really awesome cards out there, so not surprised to see this up there. You have a big name Pokemon. It is obviously coming from Destined Rivals, right, which is the regular series set from the Scarlet and Violet era. Plus you have a Pokemon Center exclusive stamp on there. It's just, again, another card which is just, it embodies everything that you look for in a card that has the opportunity to grow in price. Now, we're just going to have to wait and see if it can hold this $50 range or if it's going to spike back up to $70 here in the short term. But again, with that Pokemon Center stamp on there, I think it's got a lot of opportunities to continue to grow. Next one on the list is this Mewtwo, and just like with that Pikachu, you can see there was a very aggressive buyout on here. Again, there aren't a ton of these that are listed on TCGPlayer to begin with, but you can see that somebody or a group of somebodies went on there, bought all 10 copies that were listed around $628. You see that the price shot up. There's only been about 4 sales ever since, but it does seem to be supporting that $170 mark, right? And now, one of the reasons that this is getting so much hype is because obviously the Team Rocket's Mewtwo that we have in Destined Rivals, again, we talk about it over and over and over, and I'm not going to beat the dead horse, but there is such a strong correlation between these current hot cards, these brand new sets that are coming out that tie into the older generation, and we see these awesome Pokemon cards that have been flying under the radar really pop in value. And again, this is another card. If you haven't seen it in person, this thing absolutely jumps off the cardboard at you. I love the gold borders with the red and the blue and everything about it. You got awesome Pokemon on here. Like, this is a phenomenal card, so it's going to be very interesting to see if it can hold that $170 price point moving forward. Honestly, I think it can. I truly do. I think it was so undervalued for so long, even though it's up 65% over the last month. I think it is going to be able to retain a lot of those gains because the card really is awesome. Now, next one on the list that we're talking about right here, again, same story here. People went on there and bought a whole ton of these. I am a little less bullish on this card. This is the Umbreon. Obviously, it's a reprint of the Gold Star Umbreon from back in the day. This is from the Celebrations Classic Collection. When you think about specialty sets and how they perform really well, when you think about, you know, anniversary sets, right, and how they typically perform really, really well, I would say Celebrations kind of fell a little bit short of a lot of those expectations because it was really, really printed heavily. You know, the cards, I just don't think they were special enough. I didn't think that the way that they tied in the old into the new and all they did was put that Celebrations 25th anniversary stamp on it. It wasn't a set that I was super passionate about. I have some product from it. I got the Ultra Premium collection. I have some Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes. You know, I've got some Celebrations product, but it is not something that I went super heavy in outside of those 2 specific products. So again, everybody's in a little bit of an evolution mania, so not surprised to see this Umbreon. This was one that was kind of late to the party. A lot of the other evolution and Umbreon cards, you know, probably reached a price point where people were starting to pump the brakes a little bit. This one was cruising around at $55, so somebody probably thought this would be the next big thing. Went in, bought, looks like almost 100 copies of them, and they've been selling. I mean, they've been selling in the $70, $65 range. So interesting card. You know, again, not my favorite on the list, but I don't have to like everything. All that matters is what you like as a collector. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about right here is a card from a product that, man, we used to talk a lot about here on the channel. So this is the Pikachu promo card, and this came from a Team Up blister pack, and this card has an absolute abysmal gem rate, just like every singles card that comes from a blister pack does. But the fact that it was coming from that Team Up blister pack just made it so more intriguing, so much more valuable. Like, this is a really, really cool, really fun card, and you can see I didn't want to just include 1 month. I included the 3-month graph. Like, this thing has been growing like crazy. It's up 86% over the last 3 months. Obviously, you can see, again, somebody went on and bought a whole bunch of them, which to me isn't a big deal. You know, still $56 for this card. It's not quite as exciting as we like. When I start to get in the $50, $70, $80, $100 range, you know, I like a little more from an artwork perspective. But again, from considering the product that it comes from, this card could have a very bright future in front of it as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to this in the long run. But it's a really cool card in general. Now, the next one, we've talked about this before, but I do think there might be a little more, I don't know, renewed interest in this. So this is the Greninja and the Zoro card, right? And the thing that I like about this is obviously Greninja had a big card in Twilight Masquerade, and now there is a set in the Mega Evolution series that the Japanese name, the trademark, is Ninja Spinner, which all of us, I mean, it only makes sense, right? That it is probably going to be a set that's featuring Greninja. So you have a set which already has a high value card in Twilight Scarlet Masquerade. Now you have a potential future set, which will likely be headlined by another Greninja card. There's just a lot of positive Greninja momentum right now. And then, of course, you got Black Bolt and White Flare, you got Zoroark in there. There's just everything that you could imagine could be going on to drive interest in both of these Pokemon, and then you put them both on the exact same card, and this is the result. Again, you know, we had a lot of people who bought a very high number of cards in a short amount of time, which you've seen this price spike up about 54%, but then if you look, you know, there have been several sales since then, which has supported the mark. So it'll be interesting. Again, coming in at sub $50. I love this video series. I love the fact that we don't have a lot of $100, $200, $300 cards on here, which really put up a serious barrier to entry. I like that a lot of these, you know, are $50 or below, which is really cool. Now, the last one we're going to talk about right here, and again, it had each of these cards listed individually, but I didn't want to take up this whole video with a bunch of redundancy, so I collapsed them all into this. But these are the cards which were highlighted as growing the most month over month, and these are the staff promos from the Destined Rivals pre-release. And again, just like everything I said with the Pokemon Center exclusive stamp Tyranitar, it's everything that I love about these. You have awesome trainers, which everybody loves. You've got big name Pokemon. You got Gyarados, you got Tyranitar, you got Mimikyu, you got Typhlosion, right? These are all big name Pokemon. So you combine them with an incredibly awesome set. You combine them with a stamp. You combine them with the fact that they've got the trainer on there. And then to make them just an even more elite level of exclusivity, these are the staff stamped promos, which are incredibly hard to come by and incredibly rare. All of these cards have absolutely crushed it over the last month. I mean, this Gyarados right here, even starting off at the initial price, a lot of times prices start high and then they drop down, which you see here. It hit a little bit of a bowl pattern and then it absolutely took off like a scalded rabbit. It is going to be very interesting for me, maybe not in this original set, but for the rest of these Mega Series sets that are coming out. We know there's going to be big name Pokemon that are going to be featured. What are these pre-release cards going to look like? Maybe this is an indicator to me that if I've got some big name Pokemon and if we've got some sets which I think are going to be good, maybe I'd make an early play on some of these staff stamped promos. I've said it a million times. I love rarity. I love exclusivity. It's one of the reasons I only collect Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs. It just, in my mind and in my experience, I've been collecting collectibles like this for over 20 years, right? I started in the sports card space. I've been doing this for a very, very long time, and 9 times out of 10, matter of fact, I would almost say 99 out of 100, spending a little more to get something that's extra rare, extra exclusive has always paid off in the long run. So that's where my mentality is. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. So that's it. Those are the 10 cards that have been absolutely crushing it on TCGPlayer over the last 30 days. I had a ton of fun putting this together. I hope you had a ton of fun watching it. And if you did, hit that subscribe button or give us a thumbs up. Those 2 small things go a long way in helping my small channel out. But most importantly, I hope you have an epic rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. See you, everybody. Bye.